Valencia, May 2023, 74th minute. The match stops, not for an injury, not for a goal, but because a section of the stadium is chanting a single word at a 22-year-old Brazilian monkey. The cameras find him standing alone near the touchline, pointing into the crowd, his face somewhere between fury and heartbreak. Millions watching expected him to break, to walk off, to go silent, to shrink. Instead, within weeks, he was back on the pitch doing the one thing his enemies hated most. He was dancing, smiling, scoring, and then celebrating with the exact samba steps they had told him were disrespectful. And almost nobody watching understood that they were seeing a philosophy. One written 140 years earlier by a lonely, half-blind German who declared that the highest form of the human spirit is the one who can suffer everything the world throws at him, and answer it not with revenge, but with a dance. Sometime in the 1880s, a philosopher named Friedrich Nietzsche, sick, nearly blind, abandoned by almost everyone he loved, writing in rented rooms across Europe in near total obscurity, put down a sentence that would outlive every critic who ignored him. What does not kill me makes me stronger. But people quote that line and miss what he actually meant. Nietzsche wasn't talking about simply surviving pain. He was describing a rare kind of person, one who takes the suffering, the injustice, the hatred aimed at them, and transforms it into fuel, into art, into life lived louder. He called the highest expression of this Amor Fati, the love of fate, not tolerating what happens to you, loving it, embracing even the cruelty, because it made you who you are. And there was one image Nietzsche returned to again and again to describe this spirit: dancing. "I would only believe in a God who knew how to dance," he wrote. To Nietzsche, dance was the ultimate act of defiance, proof that a human being had said yes to life, completely, in spite of everything designed to crush them. The people too afraid, too resentful, too heavy of spirit to dance. He called them the spirit of gravity, and he warned that they would always hate the ones who could. Vinícius José Paixão de Oliveira Jr. was born in July 2000 in São Gonçalo, a working-class city across the bay from Rio de Janeiro, a place the postcards never show. Football wasn't a hobby there. It was an escape route, and everyone knew the odds. He joined Flamengo's academy as a child, and by 16, he was being called the most valuable teenager in the world. Real Madrid agreed to pay a fortune for him before he had played a full professional season, buying not a player, but a promise. He arrived in Spain at 18, carrying the weight of an entire country's expectations and a language he barely spoke, into the most demanding club on earth. And at first, he was a joke. That's the part people forget now. In his early seasons at Real Madrid, Vinícius had the speed and the dribbling, but his finishing was a disaster. He would beat 3 defenders and then miss an open goal. Pundits mocked him, rival fans laughed. There was a running joke across football that he was all wind up and no delivery, a boy with a final product that would never come. He was, by the standards of the game's harshest critics, a beautiful failure. And this is exactly the moment Nietzsche was obsessed with, the moment before transformation, when the world has already written you off and the only question that matters is what you do with the contempt. Nietzsche had a phrase for the goal of a human life: become who you are. It sounds simple, almost like a slogan, but he meant something brutal by it, that you become yourself not by avoiding suffering, but by passing through it, by refusing to become smaller, to make other people comfortable. Vinícius did not respond to the mockery by playing it safe. He didn't cut out the risky dribbles or hide on the wing. He kept attempting the impossible thing over and over, failing in public, until one season the finishing arrived, and the joke stopped being funny. In 2022, in the Champions League final against Liverpool, it was Vinícius, the boy who supposedly couldn't score, who scored the only goal and won Real Madrid the biggest prize in the sport. The failure had become the decider, not despite the years of ridicule, because of them. But becoming who you are in Nietzsche's world was never rewarded with peace. The stronger Vinícius got, the more the hatred found him, and it stopped being about football at all. Across Spain, opposing fans began targeting him with racist abuse. Monkey chants, effigies, slurs echoing through stadiums built for beauty. He became the most racially abused footballer of his generation in the richest league in the world in the 21st century. And here the world offered him the safe path, the one the spirit of gravity always offers. Keep your head down. Stop provoking. Stop dancing. Just play. And be grateful. And be quiet. He refused. And this is the most Nietzschean thing about him. Vinícius did not merely endure the abuse, he answered it. He pointed at the racists on live television and forced the cameras to look. He turned a private humiliation into a public trial. And eventually, for the first time in Spanish football history, fans were criminally convicted for racially abusing a player because he refused to let it be normal. And then, having stared directly into the ugliest thing the sport could throw at him, he went back out and celebrated his goals with a dance. The very dance they told him was arrogant. Amor Fati. He took the fate they cursed him with and made it the source of his joy. The critics understood on some level that the dance was the real defiance. That's why they attacked it more than anything else. Television hosts in Spain built entire segments around his celebrations, calling them disrespectful, provocative, a lack of humility. Notice what they were really asking for. They wanted him heavy. They wanted the spirit of gravity. A grateful, silent, motionless Vinícius would have been acceptable. A dancing one was unbearable, because a man dancing through hatred is a man who has already won, and everyone watching can feel it. Nietzsche predicted this exact reaction 2 centuries early. The resentful will always dress up their envy as morality, and they will always be most offended by the person having the most joy. Then came the Ballon d'Or, October 2024. Vinícius had been the best player in the world's best team, the decisive force in another Champions League. He was told effectively that he had won, and at the last moment the award went to someone else. Real Madrid boycotted the ceremony in protest. Vinícius didn't show up to collect nothing. To most people, that's a story about a snub, but watch what he did with it. He didn't sulk into decline. He posted 4 words, "I'll do 10 times more," and turned the theft of the trophy into the fuel for the next season. Nietzsche again. The higher man is not the one who is never wronged. He is the one who metabolizes being wronged into more life, more will, more creation. The injustice didn't diminish him. He ate it. Because that's the secret Nietzsche was trying to tell us. And the reason a Brazilian winger is the clearest illustration of it in a generation. Strength is not the absence of suffering. Anyone can be strong when the world is kind. The rarest thing, the thing Nietzsche spent his broken life pointing at, is the human being who takes everything meant to break them. The poverty, the mockery, the racism, the stolen honors, and refuses to convert it into bitterness. Who converts it into rhythm instead? Vinícius doesn't dance because nothing hurts him. He dances because everything does, and he decided a long time ago that they would not get to take the dancing too. There's a warning buried in this, though. And Nietzsche left it for us as well. He knew that the man who lives this way makes himself a target forever. To create your own values, to refuse the herd's demand that you be smaller, is to guarantee that the herd never stops coming. Vinícius is still young. He has not yet lifted a World Cup, and the same fire that makes him unbreakable can, in the wrong moment, tip into the very rage his enemies are trying to provoke, because they know that if they can make him lash out, make him heavy, make him stop dancing, they win. Every great affirmer of life walks that edge. Nietzsche himself walked it, and it cost him his mind. The dance and the abyss are closer than they look. Friedrich Nietzsche died in 1900, obscure and unwell, decades before a single person would call him one of the most important thinkers who ever lived. He wrote his philosophy for a future he would never see, for a kind of human being who did not yet exist, who could suffer the worst the world offered and answer it with creation instead of revenge. He described that person and then waited, across a century, for someone to prove he was right. Vinícius Júnior is what Nietzsche warned us about, the danger and the beauty of a spirit the crowd cannot silence, cannot shame, and cannot stop. A man they tried to bury under an entire stadium's hatred, who stood up in the middle of it, looked directly at them, and began to dance.